Okay, now we're recording. Okay. Yes. So I got you short text just to try to show you how we can provide translation commentary. This is a source text, short passage, literary text as you can see. ثم اشتعلت نار في موقد يتوسط الغرفة وتعالى لهبها وطقطق حطبها احتراقا وعندما تسرب الدفء إلى المكان أخذت الأفاعي تتحرك ثم انسابت على أرضية الغرفة كل واحدة منها مضت إلى جهة وتحت سريري دخل بعضها عندها فقط أخذت النار بالخمود. So this is a short text, okay, and if you want to comment on it, this is source text. You have what can you tell me about this text? If I ask you, give me a quick some quick remarks on this text, the source text. What can you say about this? Yes, what do you think? How can you describe this text? Please use your mics because I cannot see the chat room. I just can hear the pings, but I cannot see what you write. Yes, what do you think? Yes, I'm curious to know what you hide in your boxes of treasures. Yes. Yes. Anyone? Any brave one? Hello? Yes. Okay, I will start and you help me, please. I would say this is a literary text. This is not the start of the text, so it is taken out of context because it starts with thumma, which indicates that you have some lines or paragraphs before it. We don't have. Do you think we have difficult words? Do we have hard words in Arabic? Do we have very formal style? Do we have long sentences? Do we have complex structures? Do we have difficulty in following up the text? Do we have good cohesive ties binding the stretch of language together? Right? So all these, do we have long sentences? Do we have tense shifts? So we have different tenses, right? So if we have a look here, for example, all these verbs are used in the past simple tense, right? All these are used in the past simple tense. So we have certain motion being depicted by the text, which is the motion or the movement of snakes. We have a precise depiction of the scene. We have some audio effects, which is طقطقة الحطب. We have some audio, we have some visual things, which is تعالى لهبها. So you have some visual images. We have some images, or we have some metaphors. تسرب الدفء, right? انسابت, right? So all these things refer or show some what we call aesthetic features of language, showing that we have a literary text, right? مظبوط يا جماعة, right? طيب. If you want to translate this, do you think it is difficult or an easy task to translate this text? Yes. Yes, what do you think? Is it difficult or easy to translate this?
I think translating it in the same level of aesthetic beauty is going to be hard.
Okay. So maintaining the same level of sublimity of the text, of the source text, is hard, but it is preferable, of course, to keep the text at the same level of its literary splendor, right? Okay, so let's suppose I'm not going to ask you to translate it now because that would take time, and I'm sure you are going to do it in a brilliant way. But we're not going to take time to translate it. Let's have a look at one translation. So then a fire was lit in a hearth situated in the middle of the room, its flames rising. When the warmth spread throughout the place, the snakes started moving and slithered across the floor, each in different direction. Some of them went under my bed. Then the fire began to extinguish. What can you tell me about this? What do you think about this translation? So let's suppose that this is the target text that we provided. How can you comment on this? How can you create translation commentary? Yes. What do you think? What do you think? So I'm just starting with you with a very general example, okay? So I'll give you 2 minutes, please. Try to compare the source and target text together. Okay, and then I would be happy to be listening to your viewpoints. Yes, what do you think? Okay, I think the time given should be sufficient.
I think it's interesting how the same structure was kept. So the sentence ثم اشتعلت نار في موقد يتوسط غرفة, almost the same exactly structure, and the tense was kept. So yeah, I think that's something to remark on.
Okay, what else? Okay, you started with the first sentence, but you missed, for example, وَتَقْطَقَ حَطَبُهَا احْتِرَاقًا. It's not translated here. So this is one missing point, okay, which is a good, attractive image, is not translated here. This is one thing. Also, عندها فقط. Here we have an emphasis being placed on a particular moment of time. So here we should have said only then, right? And أخذت النار بالخمود, it means that this has happened gradually. Okay, so began to extinguish is also wrong grammatically, right? At least it should have been to be extinguished, at least. But still, this is not very accurate if we compare it with أخذت النار بالخمود. So the use of أخذت indicates that the action is being carried out gradually, right? So we'll see now how we can work with this. So the commentary, let's see. So there is an example of unmarked collocation in the source text, which is تعالى لهيبها. And to reflect such an unmarked collocation in the target text on the one hand, and to produce an idiomatic literal rendering on the other, one can opt for verbs such as flare or leap. They as noun with well collocate flame. Okay, as the noun fire collocate with the word flame. So leap and flare, if we go back, leap and flare could be used instead of rising, okay, to indicate ta'ala. Okay? Of course, we have markedness and unmarkedness in language. Do you know about this? Do you know markedness and unmarkedness in language? Hello? Okay. Unmarkedness is the orthodox structure. Okay. Unmarkedness is the orthodox structure, is the original structure. For example, if we said Ali said he was angry, مثلا, just an example. This is unmarked because this is the natural way of writing the sentence. However, if we said I am hungry, لاحظوا معي الجملة الثانية. I'm hungry said Ali. ما قلنا Ali said, we start with the verb, and this is possible when we have reporting verbs, especially in narratives في الأسلوب السردي القصصي أو في الروايات. This is possible. So this is called marked because this is unnatural. Okay, we call it marked structure. So here when we said here unmarked collocation, so this is the it is common to say تعالى لهيبها in Arabic, and when we try to look for a verb which collocates well with flames in English, we could use flare or leap or even rise. All of these are correct. Okay, clear? So if in Arabic, if we say تحطمت الطائرة وسط ألسنة من اللهب مثلا، جملة بسيطة، تحطمت الطائرة وسط ألسنة من اللهب. Okay, how can we say that? How can we translate this? The plane, yes,
was smashed.
Smashed is not used for planes. Smashed is used, for example, you smash glass of window, pane of window. You smash something with your feet, like an apple, an orange, tomato, etc. Okay, but
Crushed.
for crashed, excellent. Okay, the plane crashed in sheets of flames or in tongues of flames. Both are used. وسط ألسنة من اللهب. Okay, clear. طيب لو قلنا مثلا تراقص اللهب في قنديل الزيت مثلا. Okay, تراقص اللهب في قنديل الزيت. We would say flames danced in the oil lantern. So danced is used with the same image described or dubbed in Arabic. Okay, so you have to be careful to make sure that that the same structure is used and the same meaning has been conveyed to the native speakers of Arabic or to the native speakers of English. Okay. طبعا the sentence we said was not complete. وطقطق حطبها احتراقا. Right? This is not mentioned here. Right? So we can say yes. Yes, any participation. So it's logs crackled being burnt. Okay? So it's logs crackled being burnt. So could you please mute your mic, please? Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is one way. And the last thing, when we said also عندها فقط أخذت النار بالخمود. Yes, we would say it's only then that the fire began to die down. Okay? Clear? So this is translation of that. Clear? تمام؟ طيب. انسابت الأفاعي. We can say also snakes slid. Okay. انسابت. وفي عنا كمان فعل جميل خلينا ناخذه الآن. Can we say it looks pattered? Okay. The problem with pattered is that it is a spontaneous action which not necessarily being caused by fire. Okay. We have also snapped, for example, snap, to snap. Okay, to snap. انكسار الغصن بفعل الريح على الشجر. To snap, because we have some strong storm or wind. Okay? Clear? Right. Okay, any other questions? Yes? Right. طيب. Yes, when it is a noun. Yes, when it is a noun, لقطة or لمحة, but here it is used as a verb. يا سيد عزيز. Okay? Here it is used as a verb. طيب. So we know that this is common in English, that a word can be used as more than one part of speech. Okay. طيب. Right. Can بيقول شيء نسيت. Yes. We also say snakes shed their skins. شو يعني؟ طرحت جلدها، غيرت جلدها. To shed. Okay. وفي عنا فعل ثاني to molt. The same thing. طرحت أو غيرت جلدها. Okay. في عنا كمان كلمة ecdysis، هو المصطلح العلمي لتبديل القشر أو ما يغطي الحيوان من شعر أو. This is not used take off. You take off your clothes as human beings, but when we talk about animals, insects, then we don't, or crustaceans, القشريات, الروبيان, etc. We don't use take off. Right. طيب حتى كمان في عندنا مثلا كلمة snakes، مثلا الفعل هو wind through the grass. مثلا wind هذا الفعل في المضارع الماضي wound، فعل wound غريب شوي، بمعنى انزلق أو through كتبناها غلط بالسرعة سوري. okay wound through or wound their way through the grass. okay انسابت أو اندست. طيب right. okay, any question before we move on to another example? Any question? No, this is different. This is different. Here wind is a noun and windy is an adjective. But here this is a verb, wind. Okay, even its pronunciation is different. And the past simple is wound. Okay? I think this word occurred in The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. وردت هذه الكلمة في قصيدة Wasteland اللي أخذ عليها جائزة نوبل في الأدب T.S. Eliot. Okay, أرض اليباب. Anyway, right. Okay, if we continue. So annotation is a subjective exercise because it is affected by one's own justifications depending on the person and his and her competences, and this is very important. So the same annotations are not found by all translators because that depends on their competences. Translation students who have no experience can follow this, but they don't have to. So I'm going to show you some tips that you can take into account when you have a translation commentary. For example, you start asking yourself, you have to state your local strategy, as in تبدأ تسأل نفسك I have opted for, I have resorted to, translated X into Y, used X, I added X, I deleted Y. And for each of them, you must provide reason for doing that. Also, how is it usually carried out? We are talking about translation commentary. You state the reason when you give the reason why you did that. For example, why we used it is only then that, because we have فقط, okay, which places some emphasis on particular moment of time. This is because, this is the way you start to justify. The main reason behind this is, and when you state the type of the local strategy or shift, as in, so you have to mention the type, and here where you have to provide your theoretical knowledge about translation studies. So this is an example of translation by addition. This is translation by paraphrase. Okay. For example, if you want to translate, for example, suhoor, since we are approaching the holy month of Ramadan, if you want to translate suhoor, some people would translate it as suhoor and they just transliterate it. So we say they translated this by means of a transliteration. And in this way, you have to provide a footnote to explain what is meant by that. But if we said, for example, pre-dawn meal, or Muslims, or Ramadan pre-dawn meal, this is a translation by paraphrase. Okay? So I'm just giving you some examples to enrich your imagination and to substantiate your understanding. Any question? Any question? Yes. Could you use your mics, please? Because I cannot see the chat room. I'm requesting you to use your mics for the umpteenth time. Okay. So we can say this is an example of unit shift or intra-system shift. or level shift. Of course, all these come from Catford's 1965. If you're interested in this book, I can send you a PDF copy or soft copy of this book. So again, you have to have some thorough and solid background in theory to refer and to link your justification to the theories of translation stated before. Elaborate if you can. If you think you have the ability to elaborate, that would be excellent. So refer to another researcher's opinion in order to make their own annotation externally coherent. As in, for example, you would say, in this regard, Dickens et al., 2002, page 59, state that, blah, blah, blah. Or Catford, 1965, or Newmark, 1988, or Newmark, 1981, Venuti, 2008, etc. So you have different resources which you can use to support your claim and to support your argument. Okay? So to explain that, let's have a simple example or illustrative example. This is the source text. I want you to have a look at it, please. No one is sure whether from Israel's current perceived position of strength, of course, we added Netanyahu because it is not in the original text, but we added just for purposes of illustration. Genuinely wants lasting peace that would give the Palestinians a proper state. He leaves room for maneuver. He is flexible to a point of opportunism. I give you 3 minutes, please. Read it again and try to describe the source text. Give me a quick analysis of the source text. Okay? Please, 3 minutes only. Yes? Yes, what do you think?
I think there's a sense of describing this person, Netanyahu's personality. So it kind of digs deep into into the psychological aspect. Like, he leaves room for maneuver. He's flexible to a point of opportunism. So yeah.
Okay, so we have some psychological dimensions.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. Okay, what else? What else? Okay, let's leave the psychological dimensions for psychiatrists. Okay, what about language? What can you tell about language? Yes. What type of text is this? Is it a technical text? Is it legal text?
Political.
political or media or journalistic. Okay, that's fine. We have complex sentence, right? We have some phrases in parentheses. This text is not the beginning of the text, and it's not the complete text, because as you see we have he, which is used here as a cataphoric reference. You know cataphora and anaphora, right? Do you know this? Cataphora and anaphora. Yes. For example, okay. Ali is hardworking. He is top student. So have a look here, please. He in the second sentence here, he in the second sentence refers anaphorically to Ali. So we say he here, an anaphoric reference Ali. This is the way this is in cohesion. Okay? But so it refers back to a noun. Okay? طيب. Listen to this song. Okay? Listen to this song. This here refers to something which comes afterward, not backward, as Ali, as he to Ali, right? It refers to something which goes forward, right? So we say that blah 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 is a cataphoric reference. Cataphoric reference. Okay? Or for example, write down this please, 26448888. So this number, which comes after the word this, is considered to be in cataphoric reference. Okay? Right. So, okay. So, we start with a very long sentence, to the extent that here we should have, for example, full stop or at least semicolon. Okay. Okay. Again, here we have short sentences. Okay. The second sentence, he is flexible to a point of optimism. This looks like the result of the preceding sentence, right? The same, or this explains what is meant by this, right? So we consider this to be an explanatory sentence. So let's have a look at the translation. وفي ظل سطوة الموقف الإسرائيلي في الوقت الراهن فلا أحد يعرف بشكل قاطع ما إذا كان حقا يريد سلاما دائما يمنح بموجبه الفلسطينيين دولة حقيقية أم لا، إذ إنه عادة ما يترك باب المناورة مفتوحا فهو مرن إلى حد الانتهازية. Now, if you want to comment on this, being this is the target text, okay, I kept the translation again, and I added the annotation. The local strategy, I have opted for the addition of the phrase عادة ما, okay, which is usually. The reason for that, because this makes the text read smoothly on the one hand and lay emphasis on the regularity and frequency of the action as a matter of routine on the other, because we know that usually is one adverb of frequency. So when we add it, this refers to the frequency or to the repetition of the action to the extent that it becomes a habit. Elaboration, it is worth noting that unlike English that has to express the regularity and frequency of an action grammatically, Arabic can express them lexically when they are relevant. Source is Baker, 1992, and with a subsequent edition in 2011, languages differ widely in the way they map various aspects of world experiences. External coherence in this regard, Baker rightly comments, language that have morphological resources for expressing a certain categories such as a number, tense, or gender have to express these categories regularly. Those that do not have morphological resources for expressing the same categories do not have to express them except when they are required. So especially in Arabic, we call it morphosyntactic language. We call it morphosyntactic language because different morphemes are inflected together in the same word. For example, if we said استقبل, how would you translate استقبل? Yes. How would you translate استقبل? Yes. How would you translate استقبل? What do you think? أو أكل. Yes. What do you think? So this is what is meant by this is an example showing that Arabic is a morphosyntactic language. Okay, Batul said they. Okay, Fatma is the correct translation because we want to indicate that we have only two, because this alif he alif التثنية, right? And because we don't have in English a dual pronoun معنا ضمير المثنى في اللغة الإنجليزية as we have in Arabic, so we have two ways out. في عنا طريقتين. Either we say they both, okay, they both مثلا received a guest مثلا, or they both ate the fish, or if we know the noun itself we can use it. Okay, for example, we are talking about two fishermen. نحكي عن صيادين سمك. So the two fishermen received. So it depends on what we call, if we have this piece of information in the text. إذا كان معلوم لدينا من هما اللذان أكلا أو من هما اللذان استقبلا، إذا موجودة المعلومة في النص بنسمي هذه المعلومة endophoric. نسميها endophoric because it is existent in the text. Okay, مثل هذا المثال بالضبط اللي عندنا. لاحظوا معي هذا المثال، انتبهوا معي لو سمحتوا. لو ما عندنا هذه الكلمة، لو هذه الكلمة ما هي عندنا، هي تعود على مين؟ You cannot tell, right? You cannot tell. If we have Netanyahu in this text or in the preceding paragraph, and the preceding paragraph is at our hand, we say that he is an endophoric piece of information. لكن لو if we had this text but we don't have any reference to Netanyahu and you don't know that he refers to Netanyahu, then we say that the reference here is exophoric, خارج النص. Okay, so we have endophoric and we have exophoric. Right. Okay, clear? Okay. طيب. So this is the way you develop your annotation or your commentary. Here we have a source and target text. Let's have a look at this, please. Let's have a look at this, please. Source text says, don't spray or place on painted or polished surfaces. Keep out of reach of children. Pressurized containers, protected from sunlight. Don't expose to temperatures exceeding 50 centigrade. لاحظوا الترجمة. لا يرش أو يوضع على الأسطح المطلية أو الملمعة. يحفظ بعيدا عن متناول الأطفال. تحفظ العبوة المضغوطة بعيدا عن أشعة الشمس، ولا يجب أن تعرض للحرارة تزيد عن 50 درجة مئوية. What can you notice here? What can you notice? What is this text first? Yes, what can you tell us about the text, the source text? Is it a commentary on football match? Is it a song? What is it? Is it a lyric of a series, or what is it? Please use your mics because I cannot see the chat room, please.
An instructional text.
It is an instructional text, probably taken from a can or a bottle of perfume, for example, or air refreshener. Okay, good. What else? Now, notice with me that while the source text is in the active voice, the target text is in the passive voice. لاحظي معي؟ يعني بدل ما يقول لا ترش هذا السائل أو البخاخ ولا تضعه على الأسطح المطلية، right؟ أو احفظه بعيدا عن متناول الأطفال، right? So it is given in the passive voice. So the translator here changed the grammatical structures of the source text from active into the passive. And these are examples of structure shifts. So this is referred to as structure shifts. And according to Catford, 1965, this occurs when translators resort to arranging lower rank units, nouns, verbs, adjectives, that form a larger unit, clause or sentence, differently. So structure shifts are the most frequent among the category shifts between Arabic and English. So we have other shifts, we have other category shifts. Okay, and Catford 77 shows how those lower rank units are arranged differently in the target text, thus resulting in structure shift. Okay, so this is the way that you have to comment and to observe and to make observations on the translation that that you have. Of course, Catford was a pioneering scholar, and he was known for basing translation theory on linguistics. Okay, so I don't know if you studied that in translation theory. Okay, but we have other different shifts according to Catford, for example. So the example that we have come across just now is structure shift. We have also class shift. Okay, it is when source text item differs in the grammatical class. In the grammatical class, for example, it's my pleasure to meet you today. مثلا لاحظوا معي كلمة pleasure is a noun here, right? لكن أنا لو بترجمها بالعربي بقول يسعدني أن ألتقيكم اليوم. لاحظوا حولت pleasure من noun إلى verb, right? So this is called the class shift. This is called the class shift. Okay? طيب. الآخر the crisis of multiculturalism. لاحظوا معي هذه الجملة the crisis of multiculturalism is alarming, to say the least. Okay, إذن أقل ما يقال أن تعدد أوكي أن أزمة التعددية الثقافية لاحظوا معي is alarming here it is used as a verb, right? Is alarming, but we're going to translate it as a noun, and I would say مدعاة للقلق. So this is also another example of what we call class shift. Okay, clear? طيب. We have also something else called rank shift, also according to Catford. Okay, and here where a sentence is translated into different structure or into different phrase. For example, with no room for skepticism. With no room for skepticism. As you see, this is a prepositional phrase because it starts with a preposition, right? But in Arabic, we can translate it as complete sentence. لا يدع ذلك مجالا للشك. لاحظوا. So this we call this rank or unit shift. Rank or unit shift. Okay. آخر نوع intra-system shift is when you deal with lexical items differently from one language into another. For example, okay, for example, we say information, while it is singular in English, in Arabic we say معلومات. We use it in the plural. So this is called intra-system shift. The same with scissors or trousers, shoes. Scissors, trousers, shoes, tongs, etc. Okay? All these are dealt with as plural in English. So we say, my shoes are expensive. We don't say my shoes is. My trousers are blue jeans. My scissors are sharp. رغم انه واحد. But in Arabic we say مقص. We use singular. بنطالي. Right? حذائي. ملقطي. So this is called intra-system shift. Okay? Any question? Any question? That's why it is urged that students embarking on a project for translation commentary to be familiarized and to have their memories jogged with translation theory, and the instructor should take on this responsibility of trying to guide students on how to move and grope for information in the doc. Okay, so we talked about this. So this is all for today. I just wanted to provide you with as much information as I can within 2 hours. Sorry, I kept you late, and I'm sure that most of you must have found this boring because they've already taken the subject and they've already been familiarized with this content, but it is just a kind of refreshing your memory. So if you have any question, please, I'm ready to answer your questions. By the way, I can provide you with text, for example, to practice, to work as we did today. But as you see, it is important, fundamental to have strong background in translation theory first to elaborate and to support your examples. Okay? I can also provide you, by the way, with a text to translate just to train yourself. Why not? So for the last semester, you know me from the linguistics, from the linguistic phase, or from the linguistic side or facade. But today you can see me as a person trying to swim in the sea of translation. So if you have any questions, if you have any thing, please let me know. Yes. It was very useful. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your attendance. Anud, I don't give private lessons. I'm sorry. I don't have time. I never mastered this. But if you have any questions, you can ask me anytime. Thank you, Niveen. Fatma, is there any quick, easy way to numbering the source text lines the way you have thankfully shown? Yes, of course. Of course. Can you see this? Yes, can you see the... Let me show you this. Yes. Okay, can you see the slide? Yes. Can you see the Word file? Hello?
Not yet, doctor.
Yes. Okay, so you go to layout. Where was it? I did it today. No, not design. Review. Okay, I did it today in the morning. It was page layout. Yes, line numbers. You see this? You see this? معي حضرات? You see this? So you have Word file, but let me take any text. Let's suppose. Okay. So we have this. You see? Right. So this is the Word file. You have words, you have lines. You go to layout, line numbers, continuous. You see? Now it is numbered. Okay? Hello? Seems like I'm talking to myself. Okay? واضح يا فاطمة? Okay? So from layout, line numbers, continuous. Or you can, of course, customize this to restart each page or each section, etc. Okay? Of course, if you have text from Arabic into English, you can use from right to left. Okay? You see? If you have an Arabic text, it's useless to number it from left since you write from right. So you change the direction of the numbering from left to right. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions?